I'm Jessica Goodman, one of the digital news editors here at Entertainment Weekly, and I'm joined by Nolan.
Hey, how's it going?
And Nolan is one of our staff writers on the music team, and we are going to be talking all about the VMAs and everything you didn't see, because Nolan was inside of MSG last night.
Yeah, I infiltrated the premises.
I
was there officially. I didn't break in.
So Nolan,
yes. Tell
me, what was the best thing that you saw last night?
The best thing,
just to get the ball rolling.
It was definitely Beyonce. I've seen a lot of concerts at Madison Square Garden, and usually everybody's, by the time the main act gets up, is standing up and is dancing and singing along. The award show was actually, I thought, pretty chill, and most people were seated in their seats for Rihanna and Ariana Grande, with a few exceptions. And then when Beyonce came on, it was everybody was out of their seat. Everybody was singing along to Sorry and shouting out Becky with the good hair. And it felt like a bonding experience too. I was sitting with total strangers and I felt like we experienced something together in a way that was it was just I was blown away. Also, she has so much pyrotechnics and fire stuff that the smell of the room changed after Beyonce.
Really? What did it smell like?
That vague sort of chemical smoke smell that would normally make me think that there was a fire, but I was no, that's just what slang smells like.
That's what slang sounds like.
Yeah, it smells like.
So that definitely came across on the telecast.
Yes.
I was watching in the EW War Room where we were putting up all of our stories and looking at Twitter and Facebook and just kind of doing everything computer-wise. And so our entire room was also obsessed with the Beyonce performance. But I also thought that some of the Rihanna performances were great too. She performed four times?
Yeah,
right?
four.
4 times throughout the show. She received the Video Vanguard Award, and she was one of my favorite highlights as well. How did her performances come across in the room?
I'm not entirely sure exactly who was seated in my section, if it was other people from the media or if it was just really passionate fans, because they definitely let it be known what they felt of her vocals during the third section, the hip hop section.
And what did they think of her vocals?
They were like, girl, you're not there with the vocals. And they're somebody heard somebody say something she better find something where she doesn't have to sing for this portion. They were
that's
cruel.
Bad.
And then by the time she got on for the fourth segment, the ballad section where she was really doing the vocal stuff, there were people waving their hands like they were in church and screaming yas.
Yeah.
And so Rihanna redeemed herself. But it was interesting to get sort of the live feedback, because there are things that I think take for granted of being in a media bubble that I assume that everybody sort of enjoys when Kanye is Kanye, but I was really surprised how many people were booing him and heckling him, and I was
that's crazy.
Do people not like Kanye outside of New York media?
A lot of people definitely don't like Kanye, but you emailed me something really crazy last night that I had you couldn't hear this at all on the broadcast. What were they saying?
Yeah, so there's a couple times when the audience kind of broke out in chants, and it happened when Michael Phelps took the stage and everybody was screaming USA, USA.
Yeah, and we could hear that on the telecast.
Because that was everybody doing it, and then while Kanye was sort of giving his speech that was
his 4-minute impromptu.
Yeah, speech seems too formal for what he did, but he mentioned Taylor and alluded to their sort of drama, and sort of the section behind me or several rows back, a group of women started chanting Taylor, 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 in solidarity of because everybody was sort of cheering when he sort of, I think people thought that he was making fun of her or slighting her, and there were women who were not going to take that without saying something about it. So they did that. He also mentioned Ray J, and I guess people broke out in chants saying Ray J's name too. I don't know. It was just a lot of...
I wonder if Kim was one of those people.
There was a lot of noise about while he was speaking, and I think he even addressed a heckler at one point where he kind of told some guy to be quiet or told him to chill out. So it was, I don't know, I was surprised. I always sort of enjoy Kanye being Kanye because I feel like that's what makes the VMAs the VMAs, but there were so many people around me who were just shut up.
Yeah. But then after that, after his little speech, he introduced the new music video for Fade, which stars Tiana Taylor and her fiance, I think, Iman Shumpert.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, he's a Cavs player.
I know who Tiana Taylor is. She's great.
Yeah. So what was the audience? What was the feeling about the music video when it played? Because I assume it just played on the screens and stuff. Did Kanye take a seat?
I think
what happened?
I can't remember what Kanye did because I think everybody was pretty riveted by the video.
It's amazing.
And I think,
you guys should all check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
I think there was a little bit of we were after the Famous video, which is lots of like long creep shots in a way that it's like not really something you want to watch. Like this video, I think we were expecting something kind of like self-indulgent, and then all of a sudden we were like, can't take our eyes away from this amazing video.
It's like Flashdance on crack.
Yeah, and then also like you could sort of feel everybody be like, what the hell was that ending where she's like a cat and this like sheep, and everybody seems sort of bonded in our like collective WTF-ness. But I remember most about that is like for the most part, Key and Peele as sort of the they weren't hosts, but they were like
commentators.
Yeah,
like sportscast.
I would say most people in the arena did not find them funny or care about them at all. It was like whenever they came on the screen, everybody kind of took out their phones and was like a commercial break. And
that's kind of what happened in our war room as well, for the record.
And the only time that I remember really feeling like they actually did anything funny that I could remember was after that video when they didn't say anything and they just were kind of like pretending to be speechless. That was the only time I remember people laughing at them. Although Kanye did laugh at their Snapchat's victim unit joke in the beginning when they made a joke about Kim joining a Law and Order franchise of her own. I was like watching Kanye because he's very easy to spot in the celeb pit. And I was like, how is he going to take this? And it looked like he was into it. So at least Kanye found them funny. I can't say that counts I totally did.
So one of my favorite things about award shows is always the reaction shots. And MTV, whenever they have an award show, they're so great about this because on their app or their website, they have like 3 or 4 different cameras that you can toggle between. So you can like look at different vantage points in the venue. And so there were so many really good ones where you could like catch, Kim's reaction to something or Amber Rose's reaction to something that wasn't necessarily like put on the actual live broadcast. Like, could you see any of the reaction shots like that or not really?
Not really. There was a couple. It was really hard to identify celebrities because I didn't see any. I wasn't on Twitter, and so I didn't see any like red carpet photos. I didn't, and sometimes people change too. So if I saw some red carpet photos on my way in, they were wearing a different outfit, and so I felt like I had a hard time kind of figuring out who certain people were, and so I couldn't quite figure out the reactions to, and I was sort of far enough away that I couldn't quite make out their faces, that I only could really see if they were like doing something like let's see, what was it? Like during Ariana Grande's performance, most people were sitting down except for Frankie Grande, of course, because dude is never sitting down. He's doing the most. And Troye Sivan, when they were like the 2 people who were really, really getting into it.
I loved that performance, like with the spin bikes and the weightlifting. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was
very down.
My other favorite thing about it is when Nicki Minaj comes out, like everybody turns to look at her and the camera is on her. And I was sort of watching to see what Ari does when she's not. And she goes straight to the like little like staircase that she was sitting on, or the platform, and she just starts like lifting the weight prop and like pretending to pump iron for most
like I'm gonna get my workout in now.
She is committed to like I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like the same thing you would expect at a concert if like a special guest came out. Like obviously they're not just going to stop what they're doing, but it's sort of when you're watching TV happen from behind the scenes, it's kind of, you don't really think about like what they do when the camera's not on them. And so it was funny to watch her just go and like take out this prop and just like pump iron for a little bit.
That doesn't surprise me though, because she's such a pro, like on SNL, and she's gonna be in Hairspray. Like she's amazing. I love when she acts and like does all of her
and everybody
stage stuff.
At the beginning there were only a few people standing up, but everyone got into it. The celebrities are a really tough crowd. Like when
I bet.
When the beginning, like I think they're kind of awkward because I don't think they know what to do, and I think they're sort of like, why are all these cameras are on me? I can't really cut loose. And so it was kind of funny. Like Kanye came in sort of just right after Rihanna had just started, and at one point he's like sitting down and decides that that's stupid and gets up and turns around and gets everybody to get up, and they all listen because like, why would you say no to Kanye unless you're one of the people sitting near me who hates him? But like I was like, it really impressed me that he was like, let's get the party started. We're all celebs being awkward, but we need to stand up and dance to Rihanna. So I was into it.
That's great. I also was into it. Yeah. So you, me, Kanye have a lot of things in common.
Yeah, Kanye was really, he was like a little social butterfly going around talking to everybody. A lot of people had like receiving lines, like Kim did not move. Like you went to Kim Kardashian. And,
I would expect nothing less.
And after Ariana Grande after she did her performance, she came in and she sat down, and it was like a swarm of people were coming to go be with her. So it was really funny that like some people were so clearly big stars that like you just could tell because all the other celebs who were like maybe not as famous wanted to go hang out with them. But Kanye and Chance the Rapper were like out and about. Like they could not sit still. You could not keep Kanye in his chair. Chance was all over the place, and it was really cute. And they gave each other a big hug. They were really social. Kanye seemed like he was having like a really fun night.
Oh, that's great. Chance was like my VMA MVP, I think. Like, did you see the video this morning where Beyonce like photobombs him in a conversation with Meredith Graves? It's amazing. Everybody should check it out.
That's awesome.
So I'm a massive gymnastics fan, and I was like very.
This I know. If there's one thing I know about you, it's that you love Simone.
So I was very into the Final Five or Final Four. Like, sorry, Gabby couldn't be there. Presenting the award to Beyonce, hugging Beyonce, then taking selfies with Kim and Kanye. This was like a big internet moment for me, and like I really was moved by this, and all of their like desires to meet celebrities were met. Like, could you see any of that, or did anybody care besides me?
It was. I think people were excited. It was definitely like really loud cheers when they took the stage. The thing about it that was sort of distracting is that Beyonce, when she was not on stage, she was not in the room. Like she was off in like a green room, chilling somewhere else. She did not want to be seated with other celebrities. She was not watching, as far as I know, like live. So when Beyonce enters the arena, you kind of tend to notice, and you can see pretty much like it's like the air gets sucked out of the room because it's like everybody just starts turning their heads to like look at Beyonce because they know that like something happened when she entered the room. And so she takes the stage as the Fab Four are like talking. Like she comes in and she's sort of right by the stairs, kind of hovering with her people. And I was like, well, okay, well, we know who's getting that award because it's like she sort of spoiled the surprise in a way because I don't think the camera cut to her or acknowledged that she was there until she won.
They didn't, yeah.
And so when they're in the middle of speaking and talking about this award that they're going to present, and Beyonce comes out onto the floor for the first time and is waiting by the stairs, it was like, well, she knows what's going to happen. And they did that twice, too. So they did that for Best Female Video. And then when Jimmy Fallon was doing his like Ryan Lochte bit, like there's another part where Beyonce comes out in another like amazing outfit. And it's like, well, we know who's getting this one, too.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
But everyone's just sort of like so in awe that she's there. And it's like you can see so many people just watching her waiting there instead of Jimmy Fallon, so it was just funny. It's just like she really just like, I know I said she sucks the air out of the room, but it's like really true. It's like Beyonce enters and like you feel it. Yeah. And not just because it smells like fire.
There's not enough room for Beyonce and like everybody in MSG.
I think she was like, I would be too much of a distraction. She's like, I can't sit here with the people. I have to like get out of the way to let the show go on. Otherwise we would all just be like, what's Beyonce doing?
Yeah, I mean, Beyonce is so amazing, and her VMA performance was definitely like one for the books. I think will probably go down in history as one of the most memorable VMA performances. One that might not, however, was Miss Britney Spears.
Yes. So
Nolan, talk to me about Britney.
I have a lot of feelings about Britney. I feel like I've been on the Britney beat these past few weeks.
Yes, Nolan wrote an amazing review of Glory, which you should check out on EW.com.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was really excited. The last time Britney Spears performed at the VMAs was 2007, and
it was really bad.
I don't think we need to. You've probably seen the videos. We don't need to talk about it. We can just, enough has been said about that. And so I was really excited for her to perform again because I think her new music is really great. She seems to be killing it at her Vegas show lately. And so I was like excited. Like, I think pretty much anytime Britney does something, there's sort of this like breathless, like, is it the comeback?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. And then after she did the performance, it was after Beyonce, which was like really hard to follow that up.
It was very cruel of MTV to do that to her.
I don't know why they did that, but yeah, I don't know. So it was sort of like that's going to be tough to follow. And obviously Britney is not like a commanding live vocalist, to put it that way. But I mean, I'm all for judging pop stars on their own terms, and those are terms that Britney sets for herself. And I thought she did a really great job, and I was really excited. And I was thinking, like, this is like probably the best Britney performance I've seen in years. And I was so excited, and I was checking with people around me. I was like, that was great, right? Like, this was amazing, and everyone was super into it. And then I emailed you, and I'm like, was this as amazing as it was? And you were like, it's fine. And every review that I've read of the show has used the word fine to describe Britney. It's been like,
it wasn't as catastrophic as 2007, but like, it's Britney Spears at the VMAs. Like, we have been growing, like we're accustomed to Britney making out with Madonna, like Britney and the Snake, Britney ripping off the tuxedo. And I think I and probably a lot of other Britney fans just have to move on and accept that, Britney is not Britney from, 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is also not Britney from 2007.
Although it's interesting because I recently...
she's just Britney in 2016. I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Get me there.
I sometimes think that Britney is sort of... The expectations we have for her are sort of unfair because, I don't know, I went back and watched the 2001 Britney video performance, which is when she does Slave for You with the snake around it.
Yes.
And
iconic.
It's iconic, but I also was sort of thinking like, I don't think that performance, it's great, but she's like still lip syncing.
Yeah.
I can say that on Facebook Live, right? That's like not a secret.
It's fine.
Sorry, Britney. I love you, but so I saw that and I sort of, it gets talked about as like the storied moment of like she performed with the snake, and I went and watched it and I was sort of like, I don't know, maybe because I've heard so much about it and we've talked so much about it since then that it didn't feel like as amazing. And so I wonder if you actually go back and watch the 2001 performance in comparison with this one, which still had like all the cool shadow puppets and stuff. It had G-Eazy. It had her singing a little bit of the BB Rexa song, which was a huge surprise to me.
Yeah.
I mean, for Slave for You, she really just does the whole song. This actually, I thought, had some surprises and the production was really cool. And so, I don't know, I wonder if you watch them like side by side, if it actually feels like Britney is as fallen is perhaps too strong a word. Sorry, it got really quiet there. I got really dramatic. Britney has fallen.
No,
I don't know.
She's just Britney Spears,
So
we got to take her as she is.
So I don't know. I feel like maybe she's just somebody that you don't want to be so close up against that like watching her, because in the room it seemed really, really great. Like even the people who were freaking out about Beyonce with me seemed to be freaking out about Britney too. So.
Well, the 2016 VMAs are over, so now we have an entire year to look forward to next year's.
Yeah.
And I know I will be counting down the days because this is my favorite award show.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
And for more coverage of the VMAs, go to EW.com. Thank you.
Fail-safe plan if Captain America: Civil War had not been able to explore the clash between Team Iron Man and Team Cap. And it would have involved Chris Evans' hero facing off against a demented horde of zombies.